Hello there. Over the last few weeks, I've been waiting. I've been waiting quite patiently, actually. And this is something that I've been practicing doing. The old Melise used to be very impatient. She would push and push and push to produce, create, and achieve things in her life. This would often mean that she would never stand still or be still. So she had no access to the subtle realms, to the still small voice, to hear inspiration from source, to receive that direct stream of intuition, intelligence, guidance. The old Melise was go, go, go. And no wonder that I burnt out all the time. I would have so many creative ideas. Perhaps that's just part of this human experience in this lifetime. I had so many ideas, and I still do. And yet, every time I would go to execute these ideas, I would do great in the starting phase. I was really good at starting things, new projects, new business ideas, new hobbies, but I would always fail at the doing phase. I would give up because of burnout. I'd become literally overwhelmed in my mental body, in my emotional body, and in my physical body. And so I've been learning intentionally over the last few years, it's a journey, to become very good at listening to the divine in my life. And really, what I'm saying is, I am practicing becoming more conscious, as you are, I'm sure. And in this process, I've learned to integrate a practice in every day where I spend intentional time in quiet solitude. Now, it's taken me a while to find out exactly what that means for me. And it's very personal. For me, I had to actually find a place in nature that I would be left alone and I could go into stillness. And I've been doing that. Very, making it a very important value for myself so that it's part of every day. It's my priority. And this has changed many things in my life radically in a very positive way. Because the old Melise was do, produce, achieve, overwhelm, burnout. It was like a program pattern. I'm sure some of you can relate to that. So about a year ago, I was inspired to create my intuitive coaching and counseling practice. Now, I'd been equipped with the skills and the training and the education to be a coach for about 8 years. And I've been doing that on the side amongst many other projects and other employment as well. So when I decided to execute this idea of starting my own practice, I decided it would be in flow. I was not going to be doing this with my small self, with the body and the mind complex, which is really just a program. I was going to be doing this wholeheartedly with my heart, in direct communion with Source, in every decision I made, and with every client I encountered to help, who was there for a reason. And so it has become now part of my everyday practice in my work that I continue to surrender into flow, into stillness, to surrender the Melise self-image, everything that goes with that before each client, to become an instrument for the divine, to receive the wisdom and guidance I need for each and every client in their own individual needs. And I've made this important, and it has indeed brought flow into my life. And I'm sure you can appreciate that once you start to bring flow into your life, you attract even more flow. Like attracts like. And what I found is this brought in a lot of abundance into my life. not just financially, but abundance in every area of my life in a holistic sense. So recently, over the last few months, it's probably been about a year since I've actually had this idea as well. I really wanted to create a tribe of like-minded people like myself who could come together and create joy for others. And I've had this idea incubating for a long time, and in loyalty to my new practice of flow, I didn't execute, produce, do, or try and achieve anything until it felt in alignment. And recently I finally received some divine inspiration as to how I was going to do this. And so this idea was hatched within my being, and that was this idea of a support tribe for like-minded coaches and counselors like myself who work in the holistic, intuitive, and spiritual areas to help people. And I decided to call this the Joy Bunch. And it got me very excited because it felt very much in alignment. I had a knowing that this was inspired. And so through that joy, I began to execute this project. Now, I knew it was the right time to start this. And as I've mentioned, I've started a great many projects in the past, and I've had a very particular formula unconsciously that I followed whenever I created a new project. See, as I've mentioned though, I've never been very good at continuing in the doing phase of a project. I'm fantastic at starting it. But now that I have this experience of running a very successful coaching and counseling practice, and I have been doing the doing phase for a long time now in flow, I have this confidence that I can do this with my new support tribe. However, and this is what I really wanted to share with you today, because I realized that my old programming decided to rear its ugly head, if you like, in my life again. And I feel that this experience happened for me so I can share this with you as well. But it was a huge reminder that I was in the evolution phase still of creating a daily habit of surrender. And here I was about to execute a new project, and I completely forgot everything. I completely forgot about flow. And the irony is I was actually shown many, many times that the way I was going to execute this project was through play. And I have created a video on play about this very topic, and why it came into my life and why I created a video was because of this. And yet here I am, just last week, completely throwing all of that out in my memory and going straight into the old pattern of Melise, of doing, producing, and achieving with my small self. So as I began the starting phase of my new project, my old programming totally took over, and I got stuck in the future. What's getting stuck in the future? Anxiety. See, I've been really good at doing anxiety my whole life, and I just went right into where I stopped off last and picked it up again and ran with anxiety. Anxiety is a fear of the future. So I got really stuck into an attachment to what this project was going to be, because that is the future, right? And I got stuck in an agenda of how this project was going to be executed. And I got attached to this agenda and the way it was going to be. I got attached to it all. And now all of this is my small self. You can call it ego if you like, or your body and mind complex, but my small self, not in divine flow, not the eternal I am. I got busy I got distracted. I got stressed. I got completely obsessed and task orientated. And of course, I got overwhelmed. And I could feel the burnout coming. And it had only been a week. I noticed my awareness dropped radically. Now, I've created a video about how I track my awareness each day. I write a little percentage in my journal each evening, how consciously I've been aware in that day of my divinity, who I really am. That number dropped dramatically as I got involved in this project. It was clear I became completely obsessed in my focus and to my own detriment. Analysis paralysis, that's what I got into. I'm sure some of you can appreciate this. If you're an ideas person, if you're creative, if you have so many things you want to do and experience in this world, then you can absolutely get caught up in analysis paralysis. And where are we when we're caught up in analysis paralysis? We're up here in the mind, the small self, the body and the mind. You get tunnel vision and you get tightly wound up. My body and my mind began to suffer. I'm sure you can relate to this. As I got more involved in this project and more obsessed with all the details, my muscles began to tighten and tense in my body, especially this one, my forehead. My mind went into overdrive, as I mentioned, analysis paralysis. My emotions were heightened in anxiety, which is fear, and control and worry. Now, through all this, and thankfully, because I have such a well-built, healthy system in place in terms of journaling, which is conscious illuminating of our shadows, journaling, I would highly recommend it. Because of my daily journaling process, I asked myself, what is going on here? It didn't take long, thankfully, for me to see this. I realized that it was not the specific project or the work I'm doing, but rather it's this old program of obsessive focus that was creating this pain and suffering in me. This was an old program. Sure, some of you can relate to this. And it's based on coping techniques and mechanisms for anxiety. In other words, we have a very selective, obsessive focus on something to the point of obsession. This is about control. This is about our small self trying to feel safe and secure, in control. But control is an illusion when it's just the body and mind. They're just programs. The real you is not the body or the mind. So everything you try and control with your body and your mind is an illusion. It creates cycles of pain and suffering. And that's what I started to go into. The small release, like I like to call her the self-image release, the programming. Had been trying to execute this project. An inspired project, no less, but the small self tried to take over and do that. Not the I am presence of that connection to source. I was not working with flow and instead working as the deluded small self. I was not practicing the very principles that I used to set up my coaching and counseling practice, which is in flow. I was out of alignment. So the idea was inspired, but the execution was stuck in small self limitations. And it would always be limited until I woke up to this very fact and illuminated what had been going on over a couple of days. Like I said, it didn't take long because of my journaling process, because of my stillness time in the mornings. I was able to see this very quickly and put a stop to it. So in my haste to make this project come true, my small self took over. I was not practicing the principles of flow. I was trying to anticipate and control every detail, the agenda, the meaning, the attachments. I was limiting absolutely everything. We cannot be open to unlimited possibilities in our highest available timelines in this experience for every project we undertake. If we try and do it with our monkey mind, with our mind, the mind is just a set of programs. We need to use it in alignment, in coherence with our heart, in communion with source, in flow. So I chose to stop, and get back to being conscious and executing this project, this inspired project, in the right way. My focus and priority had slipped in my delusion of controlling with my small self. My highest value had to be put back into view, into priority, and that is of staying in surrender to the divine flow in my life. Just letting go and letting God, or the I am presence, the beloved I am, eternal awareness, the 0 point, pure potentiality. And this meant play. I was reminded this is all about play for you, Melise. That was my reminder that I received very loud and clear. Do not try and execute this project without play, Melise, without joy, without flow. The entire project must be executed in a state of complete joy. After all, I'm calling it the Joy Bunch. No compromises or slipping into unconscious programming. So the lesson here for me that I want to share with you, because I think people will be able to resonate with this, I think you'll be able to get something out of this too, is that I am to take my time. Take my time. And ensure that every move I make is in joyful surrender. My call for support for this project will be in joy and flow. My IT and administrational tasks will be in joy and flow. The logistics of this whole project will be in joy and flow. It is integral that I only move forward in a state of total surrender and flow. And play is the key frequency for me. I think it's time to be conscious in every moment of everything we do. And that's what I'm practicing. And I have experienced firsthand what this brings into my life. This way, we always stay open to the field of pure potentiality for our lives, unlimited possibilities, and beautiful expansion in ease and abundance. I believe that honoring flow will set a precedent for my project that I'm about to execute, but also in your lives too. And then when we honor this flow, we create a frequency that will create more flow with ease and grace in the execution of our inspired ideas. So I hope this has been inspirational for you today. I think that we are definitely moving into a higher understanding of the importance of what I've shared today. And I believe that this is going to change our world, each from the inside out. So enjoy the experience of flow in everything you do. If this has resonated, please like, subscribe, and share this video. I appreciate it. Have a beautiful day. See ya.